Everybody, welcome back to Shock and Shalak. I'm your host, Herschel Gillis, and today I'm going to be talking about the 2022 horror comedy found footage film Deadstream, directed by Joseph and Vanessa Winter, and starring Joseph Winter. The film came out on Shudder just a little while ago, got talked about a little bit, had a lot of friends recommend it to me, so I gave it a go, and I was pleasantly surprised. But what is the film about? Well, it is sort of a very timely film, being that it's about a disgraced internet celebrity like prankster that gets banned from YouTube and his other website that he uses that I don't think it's called Livid. Don't think that's an actual website. Um, but he's banned for a while and he comes back and tries to win back his audience by going to a haunted house and live streaming this night in the haunted house. Um, of course, things don't go according to plan, and he ends up in a very much Evil Dead esque situation. Um, I don't want to spoil too much because there's things that do happen later. I always say if these have plot twists, there's not really plot twists, but there's a lot of plot developments later on. I don't want to spoil them because it's a really fun movie they should check out. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed this film actually a lot. The first off, I'm not a huge fan of found footage movies. There are definitely good ones, but overall, I think a lot of them are very similar, and I get kind of apprehensive when I see something's a found footage movie. But this one got enough good reviews, and people are talking about it enough that I decided to give it a go. Really glad I did. Joseph is played by one of the directors, Sean Ruddy. Joseph is the lead YouTuber or lead character YouTuber. And I thought the way that the film was shot was actually really clever. You see, it's a live stream, so unlike other found footage movies, you don't really know the ending because this isn't like found content afterwards. There's even a joke about that when Joseph wears a shirt that says, 1 year ago, a YouTuber went to this haunted house and he was never found again. This is the footage that was recovered. Um, they and he's wearing that on a shirt that says like this is what was recovered, and it's kind of like poking fun at that, and he zooms it into the camera so it looks like that's the screen. Thought that was clever. Um, but yeah, he has a camera on his head that's like a GoPro, and then he has a camera on his chest that shows his face, like, actual live streamers. Um, and they actually work this really well. Like, why would he keep switching? He has this like wristband on his hand, so when he twists his hand, it switches between the two. Um, and as he's a live streamer, throughout the movie, he's checking like chat, and chats and things are pretty toxic and silly sometimes, and they definitely like write a realistic chat instead of just having people like saying weird stuff. It's saying weird stuff that people actually would say, if you know what I mean. It's really entertaining actually, and it's hilarious when Sean will just be reading. Um, I'm sorry, I think I mentioned his name was Joseph early on. I got that mixed up in my mind for whatever reason. The character's name is Sean, the director is Joseph, but Sean is reading these chat logs, and it's like there's like paranormal activities and everything going on, and he's like spinning this wheel of what he should do, um, and not taking it seriously. And then when things do happen, the chat still is like spamming him. um, it's really funny. This is a film that manages to both be funny and honestly kind of spooky sometimes. Not like super crazy scary or disturbing or anything, but creepy. Um, it has a little bit of gore in it as well, which is actually done pretty well. There's a lot of gross out stuff in this, which is fun. And I think Joseph, the actor, and director, playing Sean, really carries this entire film. I mean, granted, it's a film almost entirely focused on him and his journey, but he's actually a really good comedic actor. Um, and it did. I know a lot of people compare this to like the Evil Dead mixed with like a YouTube person or YouTuber or live streamer, and I think that's pretty accurate. But this is more like Evil Dead 2 rather than Evil Dead 1, where it's like it's kind of spooky and it's kind of silly. It's well paced. Um, I thought it was really original and clever, like for a found footage film to have like this live stream. Um, and yeah, as the story may go where you would probably expect it to go. Um, but there are characters and moments and like little unique things in the movie that keep it interesting and fresh, and I really enjoyed that about it. Really, my only complaint about the film was that I didn't care for the ending. I don't want to spoil the ending, obviously, but I didn't think it fit the tone of the movie necessarily. Um, but away from that, it's really a great film, and I'm really looking forward to whatever Joseph and Vanessa Winter, or either one of them on their own, directs next. I don't believe they have any, like, at least not any major films. I believe they did a segment in VHS 99, which is also on Shutter. But away from that, they just done short films. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they develop as like filmmakers. Because this is a really exciting, fresh take on found footage, and it's fun. And there's a lot of things that like people my age, like 20s and younger, will get from this. Like there's a lot of, I don't want to say references, but gosh, um, Sean's character is very reminiscent of an actual YouTuber or several of them. And the way that he sets up like the initial premise and the way that he shoots everything, always like they seem like kind of a joke version of a real YouTuber, and it really works if you know like that space. And there are a couple jokes about that as well, but really it's just the way that the film is presented. Um, if you are not familiar with that kind of stuff somehow, it's not really going to affect your enjoyment. But if you are familiar with it, you might get a chuckle out of a couple of parts that maybe other people won't. But if you have Shudder, you have absolutely no excuse to not watch this film. And honestly, if you don't have Shudder, this film is good enough to warrant um, picking up the service just to watch it. So, yeah, highly recommended if you haven't seen it already. Um, One of my favorite films of the year, actually. I'm really surprised by it, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Highly recommended. One of the best found footage movies in a very long time. And that's it for today. I'm going to be coming back tomorrow for day 28 of the 31 Days of Horror Reviews. I've been your host, Herschel Gillis, signing off for today. Zero thoughts, zero editing, zero brain cells, and zero planning. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and keep your notifications on. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.